Test, test, test. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Let me know how we sounding. Let me know how we sounding. We got a few setups we're looking at right now. Who was in the live yesterday, y'all? Who was in the live yesterday? Both the trades we took in yesterday's live ended up doing a nice move. If y'all was not in yesterday's live, make sure to check that shit out. So we got a couple sets we're looking at right here. Just give me 1 second now. I like this setup here. We're gonna jump in this right. So we're in this setup right here. NAS is pushing too, so we might look at some nice sales here. So if y'all was in yesterday's live, right, we was talking about looking at NAS sales that we broke below here. As we can see, let me change the volume. My mic sounds a little off. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to do this. Give me 1 second. But NAS ended up doing a nice drop to the downside, so guess what? We're going to continue sales. So we're even going to look for NAS to break below and maintain 24,600 as resistance. We look for sales going to 24,550, excuse me. Or we can look for price to retest 24,750 and look for sales there. We're in this GU setup right here. Again, if y'all can yesterday's live, we can set up here and we have now we're going to mess with a lot of these charts, so again, a lot of these charts kind of end up reversing. This is why we haven't really been looking at GJ. Yeah, let me try to fix my mic, y'all. My mic's like sounding echoey. Give me 1 second, y'all. Test, test, test. Let me see if this sounds better. Y'all. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We sound a little bit better, y'all. But again, if the mic does start to sound a little crackly, or if I sound far away, let me know. We're gonna keep it pushing, y'all. We're gonna keep it pushing. What's going on, Cindy? I see you up here. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, Virginia? I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. Sounds way better. All right, perfect. All right, cool. So we're in this GU setup right here. We're going to be looking for continued sales on NAS, and that's basically going to be the game plan for the day. Not going to touch gold unless it pushes back up. Now, we do have news today as well, so do make sure to keep that in mind. But yeah, we're going to let the GU setup play out right here. All right, just nice drop yesterday, dropped back down. Held as low as resistance last night, did a nice drop. But again, this is another example. I do not breakout trade. Imagine if you woke up, you saw price do this drop right here, you try to go for a sell here before price held it as resistance, right? You could have got fucked up. So you can always wait for the break right here. You went for sell here, where it got fucked up. stuff like that. You see here, when you hold it as resistance, it has to push the downside. We barely missed TP1. We mark off TP1 so you can see what we're looking at. You know the drill. Y'all make sure I like the live and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Just dropped a new video for y'all yesterday. Make sure to check it out after the live is over. And like always, y'all got any questions, drop in the chat. We'll be looking at charts, drop in the chat. But you know the drill. We're just chilling, patiently waiting. Just chilling, patiently waiting. Same thing right here, right? If you would have broke out traded, you would have took a loss for no reason. See what I'm saying? Always wait for the break and leave. All right, you would have broke out traded, would have got whipped out, But you see after price held as low as resistance, you did a drop to the downside. Say we're not sounding clear. Sounds good. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my mic. I'm gonna try to fix it, y'all. Alright, I think I fixed it, but we're about to find out right now. I think I fixed it, but we're about to find out. Alright, yeah, we're good, y'all. We're good. So I had to go change the settings. I don't know what happened, but the settings reset, so I had to fix the settings. But yeah, we're back to business. I don't know why the settings updated. But yeah, we got a couple setups looking at right now. We are in the GU position right now. We just barely missed TP1. And then we're going to be looking at possible NAS sales. But give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Let me know if the audio sounding better, y'all. Let me know if the audio sounding better. I think I fixed it. Yeah, we're sounding clear. All right, bet. Yeah, so right now we're looking at NAS100 and GU right now. We're currently in this GU setup with the members and students. And then we're going to be looking at possible NAS100 sales. Again, if y'all was in the live yesterday, remember I told y'all we was either going to look for buys here if we held this low as support, or price push back down. We was going to look for continued sales, picking up where we left off last week. And as you can see, not only did we break past where we ended off last week, well, not only even last week, Thursday, but we're right back where we left off last week on Friday, right? And we talked about this at the beginning of the week as well. So make sure to hit that first link in the description, join the free student free Telegram. And even though it is Friday, still check out the Sunday chart analysis, because like I always tell y'all, the Sunday chart analysis goes over not just what we see price doing Sunday night going into Monday, but it goes over what we see price doing throughout the entire week. So if you check this out, you'll see a lot of the trades we took this week we talked about at the beginning of the week, and a lot of charts went as projected from the beginning of the week. As far as how we're doing so far this week, we're 4-0 this week. We took a win on Monday and Tuesday, did not take a trade Wednesday, and then we took 2 trades yesterday. All right, we're currently in this position right here on GU. Right, if y'all was in the live yesterday, we took a nice gold buy setup, but gold ended up reversing. Right, but we took a nice gold buy setup yesterday in the live stream. Wednesday's live stream told y'all to go for gold buys, so we took a gold buy on Tuesday's live stream. And then we also entered this GU setup in yesterday's live stream as well. But yeah, so we're about to see what this next 5 and 15 looks like. We got a new 15 about to pop up in about 3 minutes. Again, y'all make sure to like the live and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Let's get to 4,500, not 4,500, I'm tripping. I can tell I just hopped out the bed. Where we at right now? We just passed 4,700 subscribers, y'all. Let's get to 4,800. Just dropped a new video for y'all yesterday. Make sure to check that out after the live is over. And again, here's another example of why I don't break out trade or do buy or sell limit orders, but I always wait for the break and retest. All right, I've been telling y'all to tune into the lives. You're gonna see a bunch of examples of how fake outs be happening, and also see how I like to take setups. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Yeah, Kingsman, I don't know what was going on. Like, my settings got reset. That's why, like, when I put my earphones in, it was still sounding fucked up after I replugged it in. I already knew what the issue was, but yeah, I just gotta start double checking that from now on, I guess. Let's see what's going on here. Do I trade silver? Not really. Like she said right here, I don't really trade it that much. I haven't traded in a few years. I literally, like, what I look at is what I look at, you know what I'm saying? Like, I literally only look at a few pairs a day. I look at like 2 future setups a day, 2 forex setups a day, and I just keep it at that. Right, but if you want me to look at silver, let me know. But I personally don't trade silver, but we can still take a look at it. Yeah, so we took a trade. We do have news today. We had Swiss franc news about 30 minutes ago. Well, an hour ago at this point, but we're still gonna look for a setup right here. Again, with news days, all you gotta do is either trade before news or trade after news, and make sure you go with the flow of price. We're about to see what this next 15 looks like right here, because we did have some big moves happen yesterday, but a few charts ended up reversing. So we're kind of just gonna leave those charts alone. But again, y'all got any questions, drop in the chat. When we look at any charts, drop in the chat. And let's see what the market's got in store for us. Man, it's crazy how it's Friday already. Shout out to those that was in the TikTok live yesterday or in any of the TikTok lives this week. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Y'all see that scrolling at the bottom of y'all screen. Instagram playmaker_way, TikTok _playmakerway_. Got some new posts lined up for y'all today. New 15 just popped up, and again, the game you're playing is sells, whether it's here or here. It does not matter to me. I'll even take a sell setup here, but we're bearish, so we're gonna be looking for sells, right? And we talked about this a little bit in the TikTok live yesterday. Not NASA, what the fuck am I typing? I need to go grab my coffee, I ain't gonna lie. I was trying not to drink coffee too much, but sometimes you just gotta drink some coffee or espresso though. Right, so again, this is where we left off last week. All right, we caught sells Wednesday and Thursday last week on NAS. And this is what we was talking about on the TikTok live yesterday. So again, we see lower lows, lower highs. which means we are what? In a downtrend, right? So as long as the rules of the downtrend are not broken, we're going to what? Look for sells. So then here we had the lower low, lower high, and depending on how price reacted here, we was going to see a new lower low get made unless we broke past this point, right? So what do we see price do? Right? Wednesday, price chilled here, but then Thursday the volume came in and dumped, right? So that's why yesterday was saying if we break back down below here, we're going to look for sells. And what happened as soon as price retested the low as resistance? That thing dumped. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's very simple, yo. You just have to go with the flow of price. That's all it comes down to. And just wait. You just have to wait and just stick to the game plan. That's all it really comes down to. That's all it really comes down to. But again, we took a nice buy setup on gold. We took nice buy setups all week on gold. But as you can see, it ended up reversing yesterday. If my screen will load, there we go. Let me go into the naked chart really quick. Alright, so we was catching a nice higher high. Then yesterday price ended up reversing. So we're going to be leaving gold alone today. Unless it pushes back up to the previous highs. Because if not, we could see price push down or reverse. But again, we don't want to go for reversals. We want to go for buys in the uptrend, sells in the downtrend. That's what we want to go for. That's what we want to go for. So that's why I didn't even bother marking levels off, because I'm not looking for sales today. Just like all week, the game plan was never sells on gold because it's not in a position where I want to look for sales. So GU has retested this level. We're going to still hold the SRTP gets hit though. GU's been kind of struggling to make that new lower low, like NAS100. So we're going to be looking to see if we can do something NAS did yesterday. Because again, you can see how we respect this level as resistance, but after we did that drop on Tuesday, Wednesday, and yesterday, price kind of has just been wicky and stuck in place. So we're going to see if we're going to get some volume today, or if we're going to be still ranging today. Let's see what we got going on, y'all. Let's see what we got going on. Silver and gold mimic each other in movement, or am I tripping? On the smaller time frames, but not always on the bigger time frames, right? It's kind of like how US30 NQ and SP 500 and NAS100, they kind of mirror each other on the smaller time frames, but on the bigger time frames, you'll see different market structure. It's kind of the same thing like that, right? So we can pull it up and talk about it. So let me pull up some more tabs. We got nothing else going on, so let's break some shit down, y'all. Let's break some shit down. If my computer will stop glitching, man. Let's pull some charts up really quick. Appreciate those that like the live. Appreciate those that subscribe. But yeah, let's pull up gold and silver really quick. Let's talk about it. All right, so sometimes they move similar, but not all the time, right? So let's just talk about it really quick. Then we'll pull up silver on this screen. Let's see what we got going on, y'all. Alright, so in this scenario, they are kind of moving similar on both the daily time frames, right? But they're not always moving similar. And sometimes silver doesn't do as big of a move as gold. But yeah, it's moving similar right here. But there are times where it's not going to be moving the exact same. You see what I'm saying? There's going to be some times where it's not moving the exact same. But here, things look kind of similar right here. What was this? Friday, December 26th. That's October 15th, December 26th. So you can see like a slight difference here. Like we look at December 26th and Monday the 29th. You can see right here how you can see a slight small difference here. But as far as what it's doing right now, it is moving kind of similar. But the charts don't always move similar, so you don't always want to be like, okay, if gold's going up, that means I'm gonna go for a buy on silver, because that's not gonna always be the case, right? Now in this situation, they are looking very similar, but there are gonna be times where they're not moving the exact same way, right? Just like with US30 NAS100, S&P 500, up until last year, there was a lot of times that they were moving the exact same way. You see what I'm saying? So like if we go back in the day, that's why like back in the day, I used to like take US30 and NAS100 and S&P 500 setups at the same time. Let's see if I can find an example of that. Let me see. Oh, here's an example, right? So you see we took an S&P 500 sell as well as a NAS100 sell and a US30 sell, all of the same day. But that's not always the case, right? Like, because if we look at NAS100 and US30, we're going to see two different market structures going on. You see what I'm saying? But in the past, you'll also see that sometimes they're moving the exact same way. But we look right now, we can see, if we get all this shit off the screen, we can see how the past few days look similar, like they did a similar drop yesterday and they're kind of moving similar today, right? But if we look at the market structure is completely different. You see what I'm saying? US30 made all-time highs last week. NAS did not make all-time highs last week. You see what I'm saying? And then we also have clear bearish momentum on NAS100, but US30 we're kind of in a reversal. You see what I mean? But then when we go into the smaller time frame, you can see on the smaller time frame, things look very similar, right? But on the bigger time frames, the market structure is completely different. So you always want to still do your full analysis, whether it's a correlating pair or not, because not all the time or a correlating pair is going to move the exact same way. You see what I'm saying? But as of right now, gold and silver are moving kind of similar, but still, you don't want to make it a habit of, you know what I'm saying, trying to skip steps. Always do a full analysis on every setup. You know what I'm saying? What's gonna do? All right, so when we look at silver, we can take a look at silver. Are you on the future side or Forex side? Let me know. Are you on the future side or Forex side before we do it? Yeah, so Chris, let me know if you're on the Forex or future side. NAS100, that's gold. Yeah, I went over gold and I just went over NAS100. Right, so just rewind, you'll see what I was talking about. So I went over NAS100, I went over gold and silver, and then I just like talked about US30 and NAS100. But as far as today, I'm only looking at NAS sales and GU sales as of right now. Supposed to be a shortage of physical, so prices all over the place. I'm telling you, like, sometimes, like, just focus mainly on the charts, right? And when you do that, you'll start to notice things. That's all I'm gonna say. Right, playmakers, you know what I'm talking about. You be the TikTok lives, you know what I'm talking about. But always, before you make a decision, don't make your final decision, unless it's like long-term investing, that's different. When day trading is concerned, always make your final decision based off market structure. All right. Always make your final decision based off market structure. What's going on, new to trades? What's going on? Futures. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the futures version of it. Give me 1 second, y'all. If y'all got any questions, drop in the chat. Want me to look at any charts, drop in the chat. So is that SI? I think that's SI. Let me drag this over. Right, so again, y'all, we was looking at a sell setup here, but y'all know I always talk about waiting for a break and retest. If we would have FOMO'd here, we would have took a loss for no reason. And this is when the people go on the internet and talk about, oh, look at this manipulation. Look at how price stop loss hunted me. But again, if you wait for price to show you it's ready to make the move, instead of just being a rush to take setups, you'll realize that the markets are not fake out liquidity grab you. You just rushed the setup and it wasn't ready to make the move. You see what I'm saying? Again, you want to enter sells off resistance levels, buys off support levels. You want to enter sells off resistance levels, buys off support levels. Make sure to hit that first link in the description, y'all. Join the free student free Telegram. Y'all see on your screen how we did last month and last quarter. Go ahead and hit that first link and check it out for yourselves. We're gonna pull it up in a little bit as well. But yeah, so we're about to talk about silver really quick, y'all. Again, you want me to look at any other charts, you know what to do, drop them in the chat. But give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. All right, we're looking at silver really quick, y'all. We're looking at silver. So again, we are still technically bullish on silver and gold. So I wouldn't really look for sells unless we break below 75, 65, 75, 60 and hold that. Well, really 75, 65. If we hold this level as resistance, then you could look for short-term sells going to 73, 20. Or possibly down to 70.55, but we are still technically bullish. So if we do break back above 80.50, 80.55, hold that support, I'd look for buys going back up to the highs at 82.55 or possibly 84.90. All right, so I wouldn't go for sells unless we otherwise resistance, but it'll still be short-term sells because it technically wouldn't be a lower low, it'd be reversal territory. So GU is retapping our level, so we're about to see if we can still maintain this level as resistance. We're still going to hold the SR or TP gets hit. We barely missed TP1, we're retesting the level. So we're about to see if we can hold this level as resistance right here. But yeah, so that's what's going on with silver. That's what's going on with silver. And that's just chilling here again, y'all. We do have news at 8:30. So if you do not know how to trade news days, members, make sure to watch the past news lives. We went live on Wednesday this week. We went live twice last week, I believe. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. No problem, no problem. Damn, y'all, we might take the first L of the week, but it's all good though. Even if the stop loss does get hit, we're still up for the week. So this is what I was telling you on the live yesterday. We lose trades. Losses are going to happen, right? But the goal is to make sure you win more than you lose and make sure your winners are bigger than your losses. So we might take an L on this right here. But again, let me show you what I'm talking about here, right? So I'm going to pull out the calculator. I'm about to cut you to the chat. Again, if y'all got any questions, drop in the chat and I got y'all. But yeah, this looks like it's about to hit our SL, y'all. Looks like our SL is about to get hit. But as we can see, NAS is still just kind of chilling right here. So again, we're going to be waiting to see how NAS reacts to this level here. And then gold still right here. I didn't take that setup yet. I was looking at a trade idea for somebody else. But yeah, so let me pull out the calculator. But let me catch you to the chat really quick. I see we got a couple comments. Post a link to the counting pips video. Yeah, let me grab my phone really quick and I got you. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm about to put the video in the chat, but it's old, but it's still valid. But I'm gonna have to add that to the list next week of videos to make. That's one video I like to do at least once a year. And it's been 2 years since I last did it, so I need to do it again. All right, cool. All right, but let's pull out the calculator, y'all, so I can show you what I'm talking about. And I made a few posts on Instagram and TikTok talking about this as well, so make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. But let's break it down. Right? This was Monday, right? What was Monday? February 9th? I know I'm terrible with time. Yeah, so Monday was February 9th. All right, so this is why risk management is important, y'all. So we're going to use simple numbers, all right? We're going to use simple numbers. So let's say in this example, we're risking $100 per trade, right? Let's say we're risking $100 per trade. So Monday, we took a NAS100 setup. What the fuck just happened? Why is Telegram tripping? Okay, so Telegram's trolling, man. Alright, but if you go to the first link in the description, free signal, free Telegram. Monday, we took a NAS100 setup. Got a 1 to 2 RR, right? So let's pull out the calculator. So 1 to 2 means whatever you're risking, you're making 2 times that amount, right? So this was the NAS100 sell setup we took on Monday. Alright, so 1 to 2 RR. So again, if I'm risking, in this example, $100 per trade, that means 100 times 2 is 200, all right? So, we're up 200, right? Then Tuesday, we took a gold buy, and we caught a 1 to 1 RR. And then depending on someone, if y'all re-entered New York session, it could have been a 1-2. But the initial trade we took on the live stream on Tuesday ended up being a 1-1, almost 1-2 RR. So again, we're gonna pull out the calculator. 1-1 would be $100 in this scenario, all right? Then Wednesday, we didn't take a trade. We didn't take a trade Wednesday. Then yesterday, we took a GU and gold setup live, right? So we caught 1-1 RRs on both of those. So again, 1-1 in this case would be 100 plus 100, right? So if this hits our stop loss, we're still gonna be up for the week. You see what I'm saying? And then if we include last week's trades, because last week was February as well, so if we include last week's trades, again, Monday we didn't take a trade. Tuesday we caught a 1-2 RR and a 1-4 RR. So again, boom, right? Wednesday we caught a 1-7 and a 1-4 RR. Boom. And then Friday we took a loss, right? So far this month, we've only taken 2 losses and we're still up for the month because again, we started in this scenario at 10,000, we're up 2,000, right? So again, this is why risk management is important. Again, you're going to lose trades, but the goal is to make sure you win more than you lose and make sure your winners are bigger than your losses, right? It's not to never it's not to never lose a trade. That's not the case, right? Obviously, you want to avoid mistakes to lose a lot of trades, which is why we have the rules in place. But at some point, losses are going to happen because price is always going to change direction at some point. But again, as we can see throughout the week, we won way more trades than we lost. You see what I'm saying? That's what's important. You can't just focus on the losses. And when you have risk management down, those losses won't bother you as much because as you can see, all it takes is one win to cancel out a loss. You see what I'm saying? But if y'all got any questions, drop in the chat. We're going to be on for a little bit longer, but it looks like the markets are kind of just chilling right now. We're still going to hold this to SRT because SR hasn't got a hit yet. And we're still going to be paying attention to NAS, but we do have USD news later on today at 8:30. All right, so after 8:30, we're going to wait for 9 o'clock, 9:30, and we're going to see if we can look for another setup or two, preferably on NAS or gold. But again, we're just waiting for NAS to come to our levels, meet our confirmations. And waiting to see how gold plays out right here. Because again, I don't really want to look for sells today on gold. So if it doesn't push back up to where I want to look for buys at, I'm just going to leave gold alone for the day. No problem, no problem. Like I said, I got to make a new video on that. I'm probably going to do it next week. But it's still relevant because it's not like they changed how pips and points work over the year or two. What about GJ? I'm not looking at GJ today. Again, I don't like trading pairs that's in reversals, so I'm not trading GJ today. That's why we haven't been trading GJ all week. We'll look at it next week, though. We're gonna be on for a little bit longer, y'all. Y'all got any questions? Drop in the chat, and I got y'all. Alright, y'all. So again, the game plan is the same with NAS100. We're gonna be looking for sales. We're just waiting to see what level we're gonna maintain as resistance. We didn't hit our SL yet on GU. We're still gonna hold the SR TP gets hit. But we're still bearish on these two charts right here. We do have USD news today at 8:30, so make sure to keep that in mind as well. Again, I dropped a few videos for y'all this week. Make sure to check those out to catch up to the playlist over the weekend. Again, do not waste the weekend. If y'all are serious about learning how to trade, you got to put the time in, right? You can't just show up to the live streams or ask me a couple questions and think it's going to click. You got to put that time in. You got to show up and all that good stuff, y'all. All right. Shout out to everybody in the live. Shout out to everybody who's been alive since the beginning. Shout out to everybody who's been alive since y'all joined. Make sure to hit that first link in the description. Join the free signal, free Telegram. You see how we did last month and last quarter. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well. You see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Instagram playmaker_way, TikTok _playmakerway_ post daily on both pages. Got some new posts lined up for y'all later on today. And again, only join my links, okay? I tell y'all, those that found me on TikTok, when y'all DM me asking me for the link, copy the link I send you, either paste it in your browser or copy the link, paste it into Telegram. Do not search for me on Telegram. There are a bunch of fake pages, all right? And I don't have no 10 people in there. I don't got 50 people in there. I don't got 100 people in there. We got 2,000 people in the channel, okay? So especially if there's a pop-up with 2,000 people in there, that is not my page. Again, I'm telling y'all to do it this way because you have to do it this way, all right? Just like in trading, you gotta follow the steps. You can't try to find shortcuts. So again, do not try to search me up on Telegram. Copy the links I send you and paste them, all right? Or just click the links in the description while you're on YouTube. Okay, y'all? But yeah, if you want to contact me directly, you can DM me on here. Well, not on here. You can DM me on Instagram, Telegram, or TikTok. I respond to all messages. But yeah, we're going to see what New York sessions got in store for us and see how this GU setup plays out. Peace. We out.